Okay, so if I am not mistaken, Jelle gets to start, yes.
So one part of the dynamic that I missed is that those Afterlife tokens have flying, which really changes the math in how these races go.
Absolutely, that is very important here. So Jelle boops across for 2.
That oligarch is so annoying.
Yeah. Ooh, Minister of Obligation. You were talking about spirit tokens? Well,
yeah. It's a mini obligation.
So, you were mentioning how those spirit tokens are flying. Well, Jelle is poised to make a lot of them. Arthur deploys his 3rd land. Then the question remains what he wants to cast next. Because, of course, if he has it in hand, he could play an Enigma Drake. But then Jelle can just untap, kill it, sacrifice the Ministrant, or sacrifice the Oligarch as he so wishes, to just vicious final payment it or straight up mortify it to get rid of the Drake. So you might not want to do that.
Do we know he has the removal in hand?
No. I'm just completely hypothetically should Arthur have and play a Drake here, but it does not look like he's going to do that. No. He plays Tormenting Voice, discarding a Beacon Bolt. And a Terramander. Simple little 1/1, but so much potential. So very much potential. Boom, Jelle Geestlink hitting across for 4 damage, sending Arthur down to 14 life. And oof, Seraph of the Scales. Big player here, and that's a Seraph of the scale. There you go. Seraph of the Scales.
So one thing I'd like to point out is we already called Drake's Blast from the past. It was the best deck half a year ago. And pretty much the only thing that was added to it in this version is that Terramander.
Exactly.
But
very powerful inclusion, to be fair. And there goes Arthur, Crackling Drake, crackles away, draws a card, and passes the turn back to Jelle Geestlink. Jelle, who still has plenty of cards in hand, but chooses to start off with a Duress. Duress revealing a stacked hand on Arthur's side as well of 1 land, 1 Radical Idea, 2 Tormenting Voice, a what's that 2 mana sorcery that draws a card again? Charter Course, and the Niv Mizzet. Arthur crucially 2 lands away from Niv Mizzet, but once Niv Mizzet gets going,
when the going gets tough. No, wait. When the Niv gets going, the going gets Niv. No?
No.
This doesn't
When
work.
the Niv Mizzet gets going, it's gonna start picking off spirit tokens by the truckload.
If the Niv
if he ever gets there.
Going, is gone.
So the rest took care of the Charter Course, and I'm just gonna ignore Niels' funniness. Jelle deciding to not attack. Or wait, no. He did not pass the turn. I thought he passed the turn. He did not.
He's contemplating.
Life's decisions.
Pondering.
That's not legal in this format. Oh man, how crazy would Ponder be for that Drake's deck, huh?
No. Just give him Brainstorm while we're at it.
Oh yes, why not? So that they can dodge the duress. Oh hey, you even have the fetch line and Evolving Wilds to shuffle away the bad cards. Damn. Yes. It's almost like Brainstorm is a great magic card.
Huh.
Monka S.
The chat fell asleep even though there's tons of people coming in. Who are you guys? Let's do a little shout out for the chat. Here, Apricot Droop Fruit. Who? What? Black Rose Magic. Kagene Nobber. Jesus. Elot. El Tombo. Foya. Yobi Essen. Jose Izo. Polizei, Phantom Ghost, Pitlord, Ruby, Skinny Seahorse, Summer Tate, Nils, Virgo Pros, and Zesty Mesty. A lot of new names. Welcome. You are watching the semi-finals of the Gentry Open. Gentry being a budget format that allows you to play a maximum of 4 one-of rares or mythics, 15 uncommons, and the rest has to be common cards. Card pool is standard and it's awesome.
Why did you not call out like 5 people? You missed like 5
they're
people
bots
on the list.
I know my bots by now.
Oh.
They're viewer bots.
Okay, well, fair enough. Fair enough.
The dude called Stream Decker Bot is
Yeah.
a bot. Surprising, right?
Obviously. No, okay, in the meantime, Seraph of the Scales has come across for 4 damage, knocking Arthur down to 10. Arthur electing not to block. And then Jelle deploys a Vanguard and passes the turn. Now Arthur has drawn 1 additional card that we haven't seen. That we have not seen yet. And Arthur is contemplating what he wants to do exactly.
Alright, Pitlord, it's good to have you. I don't think we've had you in the chat already, so if you enjoy it, don't forget to follow. We stream pretty irregularly, some live coverage and Magic Arena.
Maniac Rex, you did not call him out, he's not a bot. Bam!
He wasn't in the list either.
He was! I saw that.
Really?
I
No, I know he's not a bot. I know who he is.
Ha! You missed him.
I purposely ignored him in order to make people interact with the chat more.
Fair point. In the meantime, though, Arthur has resolved another Tormenting Voice, discarding the 3rd Tormenting Voice. Drawn some extra cards that Jelle has no clue what they are, and plays a Stapped Land. Now let's see what he's going to do, how he's going to try and reclaim the aggressive position for this match.
Lava Coil on the Seraph is a good start. Let's just throw in
Huge play there.
a euphemism out there.
Yep.
The 2 cards face up on the table have been revealed from the duress, so that Radical Idea and Niv Mizzet are still technically in hand. Arthur is just being nice and keeping them revealed, arena style, for Jelle, so he doesn't need to write them down. Also somewhat helpful for coverage.
Mm-hmm. Especially when you have people like us who forget everything all the time.
I like the flavor text on Lava Coil.
Nice. In the meantime, Arthur contemplating whether he wants to attack with either of his creatures.
Arthur constipating. Make him play hands open. No. I have been considering making a face down hand cam. Just like a poker cam on the table. Or if I ever get the computer and the hardware to do it, to have a triangulated setup that allows you to look into hands, but we're not there yet. Then I also would need a producer to actually run the show.
In the meantime, Unbreakable Formation makes all Jelle Gijsling's creatures get a +1/+1 counter, all of different colors, love it, and attack with Vigilance and Indestructible.
Primary colors though.
Yeah.
And it's the ones he got from this event.
Yeah. And also Jeskai. Blue, white-ish, and red. Terramander blocking the Adento Vanguard, and he takes the other damages to go down to 6 life.
So what's the plan here for Arthur?
Since Jelle Gijsling has no flyers in play, make it so that there's 13 instant sources in the graveyard and swing for lethal.
Without a Goblin Electromancer on the board, I don't see that happening.
Well, how many are there right now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Even with an Electromancer, I don't see that happening.
Charter Course, with Goblin Electromancer, Charter Course discarded. Charter Course discard.
And Tormenting Voices.
Yeah. Though with 3 Tormenting Voices in the grave, and at least 1 Charter Course in the grave, that's
Voice, Charter Course.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Niv Mizzet, not a bad thing to play here. It is definitely relegated to blocking duty right now, though.
So he's setting up to
block and then
go
kill.
to 1 possibly.
Yeah.
But then he stabilizes.
Yeah, that's the idea. But Jelle Gijsling has plans of his own.
Yep.
Starts with the final payment, going down to 8, destroying the Niv Mizzet. Or at least
that's
that is
enough.
his intent.
I mean, I don't know what Arthur is thinking about.
Me neither, but well, unless he has what is that Phyrexian mana card? Gutshot? No, Arthur sees the writing on the wall, knows he's dead to the attack that follows, and we're off to sideboarding with Jelle Gijsling up a game. So
Yep.
let's start with the Drake list.
The Drake list has 2 Disdainful Stroke, 2 Spell Pierce, 2 Omen Speaker, 1 Wall of Mist, 2 Essence Scatter, 3 Negate, 3 Shivan Fire. So I think this isn't a lot of tools against Ors of Aggro. The Omen Speaker is pretty decent.
Yep, good blocker.
Essence Scatter is
Important.
the only one that's definitely coming in, but Shivan Fire, no thank you.
I don't think that's good
Negate
enough, even though
is meh. One of Wall of Mist. If it's mine.
could bring that Wall of Mist in
Wall of Mist
for sure.
kind of Spell Pierce.
I mean, I don't like Spell Pierce in this matchup.
Me
I
neither.
feel like they usually get up to enough mana plenty early. Though, I mean, I don't think I would bring in the Shivan Fire for this deck because you're already running the 4 Shock main.
Yeah.
But Shivan Fire, I mean, obviously it's not good against Afterlife, but you do need to interact early with that deck if you are not a deck that commits early to the board as Drake's is, right? Like for example, for the red-based control-y gates decks, you'd absolutely bring in the Shivan Fires against Ors of Aggro, even though they don't permanently deal with it. You just need to interact with them early.
Yes, very necessary.
So Orzhov.
Orzhov has 1 Dead Revels, 2 Grotesque Demise, 2 Bring to Trial, 1 Daybreak Chaplain, 3 Healing Grace, 1 Never Happened, 3 Fungal Infection, and 2 Duress.
Those Bring to Trials are toughness based, right?
Bring to Trial is sorcery, sacrifice power 4 or more, and Grotesque
Is
Demise.
it power? I thought it was toughness, which is a
don't think so.
crucial difference in this matchup. Bring to Trial is in fact power. Okay. Then it's the Color the Culprit one that hits toughness. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Definitely coming in is the Duresses.
yes, I can absolutely see a strong value in the Duress. I mean, we saw that in the first game already. Duress stripping that Charter Course, disallowing Arthur's ability to just churn through cards, get that graveyard filled, to basically raise Jelle with a Drake.
And then the interesting thing is Healing Grace
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
All the removal will be damage based.
Yes.
It counters more or less the Lava Coil, which is pretty relevant here. And then the package of Grotesque Demise and Bring to Trial, they're
I don't know.
both meh options.
Exactly. Like Bring to Trial Exiles instead of Destroy. I don't really
Grotesque
think
Demise
that
as
really
well.
matters. Grotesque Demise, the same thing. I think the removal you have in the main deck is just in and of itself good enough to just
But
keep
what
running on
removal
that.
do we have? Mortify and Final
Mortify
Payment.
Final Payment, yes. I mean, I would
And
never,
Excellence Binding.
yeah, I don't think you want to bring in more removal. You will just improve on the quality of removal with the sideboard,
Which
I
you
don't think
don't.
you don't do in this matchup.
No.
So yeah, I think obviously the rest and probably Healing Grace for exactly the reason you said, which is an interesting application.
The one
of that
never
card.
happened is probably also coming in
Yeah.
because this deck is a lot of setup and only
Very little
10 payoff,
Yeah.
well 12
Exactly.
payoff really.
Exactly, and it does churn through a lot of cards, which means it will more often than other decks have its rares in its hand, which you can then strip.
I saw Arthur boarding out Shocks.
Yeah, no, I can definitely understand you doing that, especially when you're a deck that plays Lava Coils main, that plays creatures that can block and interact much
so he's
earlier.
replacing his Shocks with Shivan Fires because you need the 1 mana interaction.
Why would he do that?
Because you need the 1 mana
Yeah,
interaction.
no, but why would he bring in the Shivan Fire against a deck that plays 2 cards with more than 2 toughness?
1.
I mean, Jelle has
Seraph.
literally Seraph of the Scales as only card. So, I mean, I know what you mean, right? You need the 1 mana interaction, but I cannot ever imagine Arthur
I think
bringing
Shock
in,
is just better.
Yeah, I can never imagine him bringing in the Shivan Fires instead of the Shocks. I think he just took out the Shocks for the Omen Speakers and the Wall of Mist or something similar.
Yeah.
Or the Essence Scatters.
So, Mania Cracks. Prediction, Jelle wins this one. Kobe beats Mono Blue. Kobe cries Carnarium on Jelle.
Well, I could
wins
dig
this
that.
one.
I could dig that, yeah.
So, the first prediction in the chat is Kobe taking the trophy.
Kobe standing right here. Come show your face to the people, Kobe.
Ruben's face.
Yeah, Ruben's getting there as well.
We can
Where's the
just
camera? Oh, hello.
Here we have the other
Hello.
semi-final.
semi-final.
They were reading, they heard you.
We meet again, old friends. Camera.
Go base 3.
Oh no.
Base 3. I mean, for sure, if Kobe does not make the finals. I'm forcing him to sit in this spot. Go stream. Duh.
Alrighty.
Right, let's get back into the match here. As the players.
allowed to watch and stuff? Because this feels a bit like cheating.
Actually, this part, no. the deck list,
This part
not.
also no. This
But we can like watch the match here and stuff. Listen to you guys.
well,
Would you prefer not to?
Prefer not to, because we're
Yeah,
going to be talking
we'll be
about
talking
the
about
deck
the
lists as well.
so
Yeah.
I mean, you can watch us here, but get a PC of your own and pay for the stream. Up our viewing count.
Another post is rooting for Jelle. Well, rooting for Orzhov, probably because he has debts that he needs to pay off. Because who roots for Orzhov?
I mean,
Right?
this dude's from the Valley. He's an Orzhov player himself.
He's the one who brought the deck the first
first
time
time to a
to an
tournament.
event.
Yeah.
I know Jelle was working on it at that point
I
already.
was also toying around with it, but you know, I wasn't gonna step off of my gate stack.
And actually, in Bredene, 3 players had been playing it for 3 months already.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, Yannick had played it already.
We just got an interview sheet for Jelle Gijsselink where he reveals that his guild affiliation is not Orzhov, and he is in fact an Azorius guild guy. So that's definitely going to cost him in this game. The Orzhov guild is just going to be like, nope, we're not fighting for you anymore.
Also, he's claiming to be the RC.
I totally missed that part. And in the
Where is
meantime,
he?
the match is going on, and
Yeah,
we see that
let's-
Arthur
let's-
did indeed bring in the Omen speaker into Jelle's aggression of Ministrant of Obligation into Martyr of Dusk. Jelle crucially only finding his black stars on turn 4 in the form of a tapped Orzhov Guildgate. So giving Arthur time to develop his board as well with that Omen speaker, setting up the scry,
Yeah,
setting up his lands.
1-3, really good against these
Yep.
these decks.
Oh, I was so happy to see that spoiled in M19. I loved that card in Taros.
Yeah, and we get Ogre of Bolas in the next one. But is it common or uncommon? I'm not sure.
Not sure. Anyway, Sephiraya, no, not a single deck I saw that was running Dovin's Acuity. There might have been some, but they never made it onto coverage as far as I know, so we haven't actively
There might have
seen
been
any.
some Dovin's Acuity in one of the Esper builds,
Yeah,
but yeah.
would have to be Esper for Credit Cornarium to be able to beat Orzhov Aggro. I don't know, I feel like Mono Blue also has a pretty good matchup against Orzhov Aggro, though that might just...
We're talking about Acuity decks.
Yeah, no, Tom is talking about...
Yeah, Acuity decks. And the
Oh
Acuity
yeah,
deck
the
would
Acuity
have
deck
to be
with
Esper.
Esper. Oh, sorry, completely. I thought you were talking about the deck that would be needed to beat Mono Blue. So Arthur has resolved the scry and passed the turn back to Jelle. So Jelle not coming out of the gates too aggressively. Let's see what his game plan is going forward. Full price for a Blade Juggler. Goes down to 19, draws a card.
These are very expensive jugs. I mean blades to juggle. Jug blader? That sounds weird.
Jade Blugler.
Bugler?
Jade Bugler? So, boop, 3 mana. Enigma Drake as a 0/4.
I think Safraya thinks we're very funny. Ha. Ha. Ha.
So, we see Arthur's Enigma Drake as a 0/4 blocker. Stonewalling Jelle's offensive plan.
3 mana wall.
Yep.
At least Suspicious Bookcase can make your creatures unblockable.
Yeah. Though at some point this Enigma Drake is just gonna start wailing in your face. Jelle Gijsselink deciding, or is thinking about the all-out attack? Oh, no, just
No.
wants to send the Blade Juggler across the room. Arthur moves the Omen Speaker out of the way, does not want to block with that, just throws the 0/4 in front of it. Boop, Fungal Infection to finish it off.
I find it interesting that that's in the deck.
Jelle probably brought that in for exactly this reason, realizing the Drakes are X4s and he has some 3 X's attacking in in the Vanguards and Blade Jugglers. Good call, something we both missed, which shows why I am sitting here and not over there.
I was here from the beginning. No excuses needed.
Yeah. Uh-huh. That's a good point, though. Will you ever play a Gentry Open?
Unlikely.
Okay. That's fair.
Last thing to do.
And to be honest, I squeezed some stats out of the leaderboards because I do play quite a few leaderboards, and I'm the highest scoring player over in 2 different leaderboards.
If you were wearing a shirt, I would ask you to open up an extra button. Rull, is it Viceroy? Is a pretty crucial addition to the table here.
Is it?
I would say I'm gonna go, but I know there's someone gonna take my seat in like 2 minutes, so...
How did you finish Sander? I didn't finish Sander.
I'm not gonna make any... I'm not gonna make any innuendo.
I think there needs to be a comma there.
Yes. I'm also not going to make any innuendo with that joke. I'm just going to give the proper answer. I lost...
Left-handed.
I had a bye round 1, lost round 2, lost round 3, and dropped to join Niels in this very comfortable chair.
Yes.
Come to Outpost, play on the computers. We have very comfortable chairs now.
I like the redesign and re-interiorizing.
Oh yes, it's very nice here now. In the meantime, Raul ticked up into a shock and a spell pierce. Oh no, been the spell pierce probably. And a shock killed the Ministrant of Obligation, and a final payment is going to kill the Drake. We did notice your question, Safirai. We'll soon be answering it, but first there's some action happening with a dive down, saving the Enigma Drake from the final payment, and making life very difficult for Jelle. Now, Niels, interesting question. How do you feel about the uncommon planeswalkers and how they will change the meta?
Well, one answer is just spell pierce them. Yes. How much will it change the meta? I don't think... Obviously, it will change the meta. War of the Spark is the highest power level set I have ever seen enter Standard in, 15 years? So it's drastically going to change the meta. How will uncommon planeswalkers... They won't so much change the meta as an aspect of playing Gentry that we've kind of been missing, because planeswalkers with their mythic nature had a one-off and a finisher role to fill in every deck they appeared in. You never played the value planeswalker, take it up or down to make a 1/1, soak up some tempo because you force your opponent to attack. That sort of playstyle just didn't exist in Gentry, except in desperation cases. And that's going to be introduced with planeswalkers, and for that I'm really happy, because it creates a gameplay decision setting that you will need if you cross over into especially Standard, which is very planeswalker
Absolutely
dependent.
true. In the meantime, Pitiless Pontiff attacked Raul, is it the Viceroy, and knocked him down a couple of loyalty points.
Most uncommon planeswalkers are really low impact though.
Yep.
Yes, it's true.
Exactly.
And that's the entire point, is that people will learn to evaluate planeswalkers better in gameplay decisions.
Another important side note in this whole discussion is the addition of common planeswalker removal, which will be a big knock to the whole aspect of planeswalkers being this pretty safe permanent, where most of the removal just does not hit it, and it needs to be attacked into. Whereas this new common planeswalker removal and the Despark are just like, no, your planeswalker is dead. So you need to protect your planeswalkers with counterspells even after they've resolved, which is going to really change how Gentry players deal with planeswalkers and play around planeswalkers.
Yeah, but we're going back to the game for a bit. We'll get back to planeswalkers we're interested in brewing with. But right now we have a very interesting and tense match as well.
With the Crackling Drake resolving on Arthur's side, drawing him an extra card, providing another blocker for Jelle's Onslaught, and significantly a 5-power attacker, which after the attack of the Enigma Drake would prove to be potentially lethal on Jelle's side.
We have 2 Afterlife tokens,
Yes.
and we have an active Pitiless Pontiff.
Boop, radical idea. Oh yes, I'm not saying that Jelle doesn't have the blockers or the ways to make the blockers, but it is a threat, right? Tom, yes, there will be a new arena leaderboard. We have the calendar for the entire next season, actually, for the official events, which will be going over, I would say, in between the semifinals. Sounds like a good point. I'll go over arena plans right after this match. If I do forget, Tom, please do remind me. Because this match is pretty intense, so...
Yeah, we had a bring to trial on the Crackling Drake.
Yep.
So they were brought in.
So they were brought in. Okay. Interesting enough. Everything is attacking mode for Jelle.
Yeah, the top oligarch has summoning sickness, so that's not coming in.
Indeed. And then the question is... Tom, yeah, it'll be up on the site soon. Due to some technical difficulties, I wasn't able to get the site registration already open during the open. But registration for the first leaderboard will start a week before it starts. So that's basically on Monday. In the meantime, Jelle swing across for a lot of damage, trading his Martyr of Dusk for a 1/1 lifelinker as it runs into the Omen Speaker.
Yeah, gets rid of the Ral,
Yep.
so it has absorbed an attack phase.
Yep, so Ral got some value, absorbed an entire attack. That's what you want your Planeswalker to do.
I want my Planeswalker to win me the match.
If you're a Drake's deck,
Yes?
you just beat them down with your Drakes. Anyway, Arthur resolving an opt. Let's see what he opts to do.
He's opting Roplos. that exhaled. It wasn't even a sigh. It was just like deflate.
Whoop.
That's all the
Tormenting Voice,
instants.
discarding the Essence Scatter to go up to more than 8 instants. Jelle sacrifices his tapped Imperious Oligarch, makes a token and blocks, or wants to block with the token, but before blocks, Arthur opts, looking for that instant speed removal to be able to get rid of the spirit to equal this match to 1-1. Came to see a match, staying for the jokes. That's what we're all about. So
Give us some board clips to make it.
Arthur
Yes. Sorry.
Arthur did not find removal or wanted to play a removal spell, and so Jelle was free to block that Drake with his 1/1 flying spirit token. Chart a course for even more card selection. Finds him a land and plays it. The turn is passed. Let's see what Jelle can do here. There is a sexual message. I kind of like the Epic Sax Guy song, is apparently NSFW. Right, so
Nope.
a little bit of an attack from Jelle's side to knock Arthur down to 15.
There's a lot of knocking going on here.
Yes, I keep using the same phrases. It's almost like my vocabulary isn't as wide as I would like it to be.
Not just your vocabulary. That one was too easy.
Your mom is too easy.
Ooh!
Pain. Bye, buddy.
Apparently, the non-permitted term is not sax, it's epic sax.
Well, don't you like some epic sax?
Oh.
Boom! There's 2 more Drakes on the battlefield suddenly.
Wait, what?
In amongst that epic sax discussion, Arthur attacked, Jelle blocked, as we would be expecting with the spirit, but now Arthur has 3 lethal attackers, and Jelle finds a Minister of Obligation, which will make more flying blockers.
Very relevant.
Absolutely relevant indeed.
And the oligarch, yeah, we have the oligarch as well for an...
Yep, that's the sacrifice outlet to get rid of it. Arthur attacks. Jelle, boop, taps 1, sacrifices the Ministrant of Obligation, makes 2 tokens, and
Block,
blocks
block, block.
every single Drake.
Eating his own board against the still rather healthy life total on the side of Arthur.
Yep, it is not looking that fantastic for Jelle. Arthur churning through even more of his cards with that Tormenting Voice.
Jelle making the remark, if you do that before combat, it's more damage. It's not that
Yes.
relevant if everything's lethal anyway.
To overkill the spirits. So another attack with the Pitiless Pontiff. Arthur,
Pity the man who wears my pontiff.
this guy is draining every single ounce of humanity I have left inside me.
Camera is very blurry. We are very aware of this.
Sadly, we are aware of this, yes.
We actually have some technical difficulties with what we think is the repeater cable in the repeater and the extension cable that is causing our camera to default down to 640 by 480.
Yep.
And we used to be able to get proper image, but there's been a hardware update plus a possibly faulty cable that is stopping us from delivering the usual quality.
So this was we basically weren't able to test the camera setup with the new computer setup here in Outpost, which means by the next we should be able to provide better image again once you've gotten some practice runs in and get the correct setup settings and just hardware that we need. In the meantime, no revisiting of the sideboard for Jelle. Arthur does seem to be revisiting.
There's also possibly coming another investment into some camera equipment, and a real camera rather than a good webcam.
Cool. That's very cool.
There was something we were going to mention in between.
Yes. No, but I was going to do them between the semifinals, not necessarily during sideboarding because it might take a little bit longer. But I can definitely, for those... Whoa. Boop. For the quick rundown, basically, we are doing Gentry on Arena again next season. So we didn't do it in April because of the timing of the Open. But for the next season, we will have 5 different leaderboard events. So same thing as usually. I'll do a complete pitch later. But the quick rundown is basically registration will always start 1 week before the start of the leaderboard. The first leaderboard, the May leaderboard, starts the 30th of April and runs until the 27th of May. Then the 28th of May starts the June leaderboard until the 24th of June. Then we take a week of a break for the 2nd of July leaderboard, which starts on the 2nd of July until the 29th of July. Then August starts on the 30th of July until the 26th of August. And then the last leaderboard, a little bit special. We start the 27th of August, but we stop a couple of days early on the 20th of September. That's a Friday, because that is the day or 2 days before the Open, depending on if it's Saturday or Sunday. So why are we doing this? Very simple, because otherwise we'd have to not do a leaderboard in September, which we are not going to be doing. So it's the last round of the September leaderboard will only give you 4 days to play your match instead of 7. So that'll be obviously on the registration page as well, but be mindful of that. And then there's also the Challenger Series that was mentioned, which will be played on Saturdays, because the events we tried in April were on Sundays, which definitely proved to be a not popular day. So because it's a full day event, we still want to do it in the weekends, so Saturday was chosen. We'll be going over those dates and those exact tournament formats after this semi-final is over, because we are back off to the races with Imperious Oligarch on Jelle Geesling's side and Arthur just playing his second land.
Yeah, we're knocking on the races to be off. Or something. Because I don't have a very wide vocabulary.
You know what? So, Arthur had Tormenting Voiced away a land, which gave Jelle free reign to play that Blade Juggler and attack with the Oligarch, though in a different order. Putting Arthur down to 18, Jelle down to 19. Let's see what Arthur is going to do to try and put a roadblock in front of Jelle's 5 power.
It's really interesting to see just how much the dynamic of tempo changes with being on the play and on the draw.
Absolutely.
Especially for this
Is it
Drake's deck?
Yeah.
It's it looks a lot worse when it has to play reactive.
Yep, very true. And there's the Enigma Drake coming up as a wall. but no protection alive. So let's see what Jelle is going to do here.
Why are there cards in the graveyard?
Tormenting Voice,
So
pitching
it's
a
not
mountain.
wall. It actually kills the oligarch.
Yes, it is a 2-1,
Relevantly.
but it gets Ixalan's Bindings. I didn't actually mean it as a wall. I meant it just as a blocker or a roadblock, and it cannot do that anymore because it's been Ixalan's Bindinged.
Yeah.
Which very relevantly has a second line of text that says your opponent can't cast spells with the same name as this card, which means if there are any Enigma Drakes in Arthur Hugart's hand, he can no longer play those.
So we already see there's at least one in there.
Naturally, I cannot comment on the contents of Arthur's hand because the players might hear me say something. There is a Terramander though for Arthur, which is a 1-1 that can get bigger. But boom, Jelle coming across for 5, knocking him down to 8.
Yeah.
So with one instant and sorcery in the graveyard right now, Arthur is going to need to do a little bit of work before the Terramander becomes a 5-5. At which point it will block properly. But there is a Seraph of the Scales, in response to which Arthur casts an Opt, bottoms a card, draws a card.
So in the meantime, we have a lot of new people in the chat again. So welcome. If you don't know what you're looking at, this is the semi-final of the Gentry Open. If you want to know more about it, links in the chat. Okay, so that's Seraph resolved even after digging with an...
Yep.
What is it? An Opt?
An Opt, yes, and a Radical Idea. But that Radical Idea was tap out for that, so that was clear to be going to resolve. So at this point, Jelle has an impressive board versus a lowly Terramander. Arthur does have 3 instant sorceries in the grave, so in theory he could tap out to make it a big Terramander, but in doing so would tap out, which allows Jelle to just have a removal spell and swing in for 9, killing him.
Yeah. So this is really looking like a repeat of game 1.
Yep. With
Is this an illustration of just how
polarized the matchup is?
tempo depending it is?
Absolutely. But also, as you said, you saw Arthur board out the shocks, which is obviously, that is what you have to stop the early onslaught. Even though most of the cards leave something behind, that 2 damage that kills a Blade Juggler takes a 3 power off the board.
Yeah.
That's such a big thing that it's probably something you do want to have access to in this
Such a
matchup.
big thing.
Are you done talking about my big and white things?
What?
Okay,
Shock
so
is red.
Arthur just decided to play nothing and let Jelle do the actions and then respond to that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like
he has
that.
to
It's-
play reactive
It's
here.
reactive, but it can definitely lead to a strong sequence of plays. Jelle, correctly in my opinion, decides to just say, here are all my creatures coming at you. This is a lethal attack. What do you want to do about it?
Yeah.
And then the question is, what is Arthur going to do about it? And there is obviously a lot of things we could be talking about, what might be going through Arthur's mind right now. The problem is it is at this point very quiet in the outpost, meaning that every word I say is being understood clearly by the players, so I cannot go too much into what I think he should be doing, because that might actually lead him to do so. I would much rather describe the play afterwards.
He's thinking, how did this happen to me?
Okay, so he decides to block the Blade Juggler and then dive down his Terramander to save it from dying to the damage.
Where's my button?
How could this happen
Yeah.
to me? I made my mistakes.
Nope.
So that's what was going on there. In the meantime, we have that dive down on the stack. Jelle is seeing if he wants to respond to that with perhaps a removal spell or something different to get rid of the Terramander in response to the dive down, meaning that the Terramander will not get the hexproof and will die to the removal spell unless Arthur would then do something about it. Hypothetically, of course, should Jelle want to play a removal spell, if he even has one.
And
What
if
we
he
do know is
does, it would be...
He does have one. Goes down to 14 for that. But boom, Arthur has a second dive down, meaning the final payment does not get countered. The final payment does not kill the Pteramander, but it does become a 1/7, which then gets adapted. So now he has that Pteramander as a 5/5, but he's only at 2 life against 3 lethal attackers, and he cannot play Enigma Drake. So what?
Dun dun dun.
Yeah, he cannot play
Very
Enigma Drakes
open.
due to the Excellence Binding, meaning he has 5 mana to have 2 answers for creatures that have Afterlife. So that's going to be very interesting. But he starts off with an opt.
Cry of the Carnarium.
Yes, that would be a great card here. Too bad he has no access to black mana or Metamorphose.
Also, it kind of sort of leaves the Seraph, so even that is...
Yeah, but the Seraph you just eat up with your Termandra
Yeah,
because it's a 5/5.
with that touch.
You trade.
No, it leaves 2 tokens.
Then you kill the tokens with a Chain Whirler.
Keep going.
Flop, 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 flop. Okay, so enough madness. 4 mana. What is Arthur going to do here to save himself? Tick tock goes the clock from Jelle. Radical idea to dig even further, going down to 2 mana. It's gonna have to be a real whopper. Passes the turn. Dejectedly throws his hands on the table. Now Niels might have just said don't stop believing, but someone seems to be writing on these walls, these not quite yet painted on this end of the outpost walls.
I like the new
And
wall.
there it is. Jelle Geeselink makes a lethal attack. Arthur Hugard fought valiantly but couldn't quite get there. Jelle wins 2-1, moves on to the finals. Jelle, the only person in the top 8 who can win this for the second time, become a 2-time Gentry Open champion, made it to the finals. But now we need to see who is going to beat him.
To beat him.
Who's going to try
meet
and stop him.
Whoa. Whoa.
That was a big Jelle Geeselink.